Let me tell y'all a secret. Come here. DaRon Holmes II might be my favorite player in this draft. I'm not gonna lie to you. What's good, y'all? Welcome back for some more draft coverage, because as of this upload, we are now officially 1 week away from the NBA draft on June 26th. And of course, I've already posted a bunch of videos on some of my favorite prospects like Isaiah Collier and Jared McCain and a whole bunch of other guys. So make sure y'all check that out if you're interested. And also like this video and subscribe, because I'm on the grind to hit 5K subs by the start of next season. It's greatly appreciated. But enough self-promo, because we're here to talk about DaRon Holmes II, who is easily one of the most underrated guys in this draft, because truthfully, I didn't even know who he was up until a couple weeks ago. And already after my research that I've done, he really seems like a guy that would be perfect for the Miami Heat. Now, he's mostly been ranked, in the early 20s, so a guy that maybe the Heat could even trade back a little bit to get an asset or two. But if the Heat really do like him, I wouldn't mess around. I would just take him right then and there at 15. But for example, Yahoo Sports had him at number 23 in their latest mock, Bleacher Report at number 22, and The Ringer at number 28. So he is a guy that should be available at 15, although I did even see him go number 10 in a couple of mocks, which based off everything I'm going to tell y'all today, I don't know why he's not a top 10 pick, because he really does seem like a great prospect. At 21 years old, his official combine measurements were 6'9", with a 7'1" wingspan, coming in at 220 pounds. So very decent measurables. You love the positive wingspan. 6'9" isn't necessarily the huge, big, lumbering center you'd like to have to guard a Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid, but still in today's NBA, those are great measurables. And obviously the 7'1" wingspan is a huge reason that he's such a dominant shot blocker, and that's kind of his thing, right? He spent 3 years at Dayton, and his junior stats, he played 33 minutes a night and averaged almost 20 points, 9 rebounds, shot 54% from the field, and 39% from three on 2.5 attempts. That's the thing that gets people really excited, because I think 2.5 attempts a night is pretty legit, and to knock him down at a 39% clip is really just an awesome number. And I don't think it was super fluky, because he was 71% from the free throw line. So not great, but certainly average, maybe I was gonna say above average. No, that's probably average. So certainly not bad at all there. And that was even on 9 attempts a game. So I know people get excited about his 2.5 threes a game, but a guy that's getting 9 free throw attempts a night, that's obviously a guy that's attacking the basket a ton as well. And then he did average just over 2 blocks a game. So to give you guys a little bit more of an idea of who DaRon Holmes is, some player comps that I've seen is like Trace Jackson Davis, who a lot of people may not be aware of because he was the rookie on the Warriors. But a couple other player comps you have is Jalen Smith, which was the guy who was traded to the Pacers. And he's actually a guy that I loved coming into the draft a couple years ago. Phoenix snagged him a few picks before the Heat took Nikola Jokic, which obviously worked out for the Heat. I think Jokic is a better player, but Jalen Smith was sort of that guy that could rebound, hit some threes from the 4 position, that sort of thing. But then another name who everyone should be familiar with is Naz Reid. Obviously another guy that's a smaller center, but can switch a little bit on defense, shoot from the outside, can score inside, and obviously Naz Reid on the Miami Heat would be crazy good. So if DaRon Holmes II could be anything like that, I think Heat fans should be super, super excited. But as far as his offense, he is very, very good on the pick and roll and the pick and pop. So there's a lot of versatility there. I think that's something to be excited about. Obviously, we said he averaged 20 points a night on 54% from the field. So it's a guy that could certainly put the ball in the basket. He's not just, I know we talked about like Yves Missy being a dominant shot blocker, but not a great offensive player. That's not DaRon Holmes. And for that reason, I think I might be a little bit higher on DaRon Holmes than Yves Missy. Yves Missy certainly a lot more strong. I think a lot more athletic too, even though DaRon Holmes does have a lot of that athleticism in him. But just having a guy that you can trust to shoot the ball out there, I think is a huge plus. Obviously in today's NBA, specifically with this Heat team that has trouble scoring and not the best spacers out there at times, that this is a guy that gets me excited. He shot, now I know I say he's a decent pick and roll, pick and pop, but he only took 2.5 threes a game. I kind of want to temper everyone's expectations there. You're not getting a sniper If you want a sniper, get Tristan da Silva. That's another 6'9" guy that can shoot the skin off the ball. And that's why I like Tristan da Silva a lot. He's my third favorite prospect overall behind Isaiah Collier, Jared McCain, and then obviously him. Third favorite prospect out of guys that could fall to the Heat's range. You know what I mean? But DaRon Holmes, 2.5, 3 attempts a game, but he takes over 12 shots overall. So most of his shots are obviously coming from inside the three-point line, with 60% of them coming at the rim. So this is a guy that a little bit of a mid-range game I saw, not too much post work. He's a guy that can get the ball in the post, and he doesn't have a lot of footwork, but he can do a little bit of a drop step, a jump hook. Basically, he has enough moves where he can take advantage of a mismatch and just won't get beats all the time. So other teams can't hide their worst defender on him because he is a guy that can take a little bit of advantage of that, whether he does one of those jump hooks or something, or I've even seen him face up in the mid-range and hit a mid-range jump shot, a couple mid-range step backs. So stuff like that does get me really excited. But again, 60% of his shots at the rim converts at a 67% clip, which are very, very good numbers. And it doesn't surprise me that he attacks the rim so much because, again, we said he shot 9 free throw attempts a game. So that's something I really like, especially since the Heat have trouble scoring inside. They don't have much of an interior presence, a guy that can get to the rim there, but also they kind of lack in free throw shooting, even attempts from anybody not named Jimmy Butler. So that's something that I like about DaRon Holmes a lot. Now, as far as the defensive side, he is a very switchy defender, which is perfect. The shot blocking side is great. Obviously, he gets you 2 a night, but it's not just him standing in the paint and trying to chase blocks like Hassan Whiteside or something. I didn't even mention DaRon Holmes averaged 2.5 assists a night, so he does make some nice, moves in the playmaking game. Unlike Whiteside, who I always mention this anytime I see a center that could pass a little bit. It is such a plus because as much as I love Hassan Whiteside, I know that's an unpopular take. As much as I love him, though, it was very frustrating seeing him not be able to pass the ball. So just when you know that there's centers that are at least capable, it's nice to have. And DaRon Holmes is capable of that. But he's not a guy that's just standing in the paint like, we won't say Whiteside because Whiteside was good to help defense, but Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is a guy that I know people say he's helped defense and back. No, Rudy Gobert sucks. He stands in the paint all day. If he's outside of 3 feet of the paint, he's worthless, right? But DaRon Holmes is a guy that can actually move his feet a lot, find the mismatch, help weak side, run. If you're playing a zone, run up the middle and just really affect any shots that are going up in such a large area. And obviously he ends up getting a lot of blocks because of that. And even if we're not talking shot blocking, like I said, he's a very switchable defender. He can guard guys one-on-one from multiple different positions because he does have really decent footwork, and an in-air exposure system, a guy that likes to do a lot of switching, that's perfect. That's why I'm not a fan of Zach Edey. I posted a video, 2 days ago, I think now, talking about the rumor where the Heat were going to, the rumor that they were going to buy into a top 5 pick and maybe get Donovan Clingan. I had a lot of people in my comments say, oh yeah, they should get Donovan Clingan. And then all my other draft videos, no, we don't. I get comments saying, oh, we don't want him, we want Zach Edey. Those guys are too slow. They cannot switch on defense, and they just wouldn't work in this Heat system, let alone the NBA. I'm not even sure if they would work in the NBA. But a guy like DaRon Holmes, a guy like Yves Missi, those guys can switch on defense. And that's another reason that I really like him as well. He's also a very, very good pick and roll defender, which is critical because that's also something that the Heat couldn't do last year. And really the only other downside to him is that I wrote down is that he should cut down on his turnovers. Also got about 2 a game. So an assist to turnover ratio of about 1-to-1. But in the NBA, I don't think he'll have as much usage. I don't think he'll be used exactly the same. So I don't even think the chances will be there for him to turn the ball over. Because I think offensively, he'll pretty much be restricted to catch and lob, or pick and lob finisher, or like a pick and pop 3 guy. So he won't have the ball in his hands a lot. Not Bleacher Report, The Ringer in their mock draft, they actually do a good job, even though The Ringer's led by that bum Bill Simmons. But Kevin O'Connor writes the articles, and they do a good job talking about these guys. And their description of him, I like a lot. It says, throwback, they call him a throwback big who can block shots and finish lobs with the benefit of modern switchability. And the reason that I really like that is because I think the Heat kind of need a throwback big. A guy that can be big for the sake of being big. But I don't like a lot that comes with those guys like Zach Edey and them because they can't fit in the modern offense. That's why the positive is DaRon Holmes has that modernization to him where he is a bit quicker, can switch, can stretch the floor. So I do think he kind of brings the best of both worlds. And for that reason, I really, really like him as a prospect. I kind of want to go through the rest of the Ringers' explanation of him here because they do bring up some good stuff for me, for a guy who wasn't too familiar with DaRon Holmes. They say, you know, his pluses here: shot blocking, hustle, interior scoring. You love that. They mentioned that in a senior in high school, he was only 6'8", so he has to get used to his 6'10" frame. I don't buy that because he was in college for 3 years, and also a 2-inch difference isn't a lot. It's not like Anthony Davis, who was 6'1" and shot at the damn near 7 foot. It's not like that. But still, they're being nice to the kid. I'm not gonna hate. They do mention that shot blocking is his best skill, and they talk about how quick he is and able to move around there. I really like how they say he's an intelligent player, embraces his role as a screener, cutter, and rim runner. He always boxes out. After defensive stops, he'll instantly sprint up the floor and have his hands to catch passes. And if he doesn't receive the ball, he doesn't mope. I love that because he's a guy that I think understands that he has a role to play, and that's winning basketball. My biggest concern with Khalil Ware, who I like a lot and a lot of other people do, is there's a lot of rumors that he doesn't have a good motor, that his energy is low at times, that if he misses a few shots, he lets his offense affect his defense. That's not Heat culture, and those things are really, really concerning to me. Now, if the Heat were to take him, okay, fine. You know, then the Heat clearly trust him, and then I'll be excited. But if not, it's concerning. It really is. I don't want to deal with a guy like that. You don't have those concerns with DaRon Holmes, though. Talks a little bit more about his three-point shooting. It does question it later on in the minuses here, but they talk about how good his form is, and I agree. Just watching his form for a couple times, a couple shots, I said, this guy could shoot. I think that's something that's going to translate. You have everything you want to see, you know, fluid, one motion, elbow in, great follow through, high arc, you know, releases it actually at the top. And for a guy that's 6'9", that's obviously very hard to block. So just overall, it has me very, very excited. But there's not too much here in this description that we haven't talked about yet. I just kind of want to mention those few things about his motor. The only other minuses, though, we talked about the turnovers. Obviously, the shooting, we don't know if it's sustainable yet, but it also talks about he doesn't have a lot of experience versus NBA competition. He played for Dayton, and I guess they just didn't play a ton of big schools, but I do know they were in the tournaments for one game, and I think he had like 23 and 11 and hit a couple threes. So in his one tournament game, he actually played pretty well. But that is DaRon Holmes II for y'all. Let me know what y'all think of him down below. Are you a fan? Is he a guy that you would want to take in the first round? And if not, who do you want to take? And why is it most likely Zach Edey? Because that's what all my comments say. Anyways, make sure to like the video, hit subscribe. I'm on the grind to hit 5K subs by the start of next season. At the time of this recording, I'm currently 755 subs away. But who's counting? I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
Look, pull up in your city tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.